Hey, what's up, everybody? BDL44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I'm going to try to speculate on what's going on behind the scenes because that's all we can really do. It's just speculation at the end of the day. We got a lot. Um, Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. I was told or saw the report on this that they had come together today to have a conversation to kind of get on the same page about what they want to do. And it's being reported as them coming together to recommit to one another. So the leverage, the leverage is in play here. Basically, the Los Angeles Lakers, Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook has particularly done some damage by having his situation with his agent go left. He did not want his trade desires public. I don't think it was in anybody's best interest for them to know that he wants out. I don't think it's in anybody's best interest for them to know that he wants out. And if I'm going to just speculate after thinking a lot about it, I got a lot of different things I think is going on here. One, I think the agent might have set the house on fire on the way out. That's what I think might have happened there. Because the only person that would want that information out is somebody who wants to mess up the situation. Because think about it. The Lakers want Russell gone. Russell all week long, all month long, has been showing up to summer league camp, trying to show up to be the Lakers, big bro, so to speak, trying to be the best team player he could be. Even that, and you see Darvin Ham going on this charade. Darvin Ham doesn't come off as the type of person who's going to do that without having certain conversations with Russell Westbrook behind the scenes to let him know what's really going on. He doesn't establish a reputation for being this respectable of a person by making mistakes like this. I don't think he did. I think he and Russell Westbrook been on the same page the whole time. I think most of these people have been on the same page the whole time, but whatever happened with the agent, now the agent gets fired and now wants to let everybody know that Russell wants out. The only thing that actually does is keep Russell from being traded. That hurts everybody. And that's the only thing about the release statement. It's like, who are you trying to protect when you, or what are you trying to do when you're doing this? Because the only thing it looks like the agent is actually doing is just punching people on the way out the door, setting the house on fire on the way out. Like, if you don't want me, ain't nobody about to have you. And another thing about the situation is this. Is another thing that I'm looking at. I've seen a lot of times in the NBA and sports where coaches particularly get fired, but they don't call it a firing. They say that they parted ways. Or, for example, a coach may decide, well, yeah, that's usually how it goes. In this case, I'd imagine it could be like that too, where the agent actually wants to get away from the talent, but they release it in such a way that makes it look like the talent's getting away from the agent. I think that there's reason to believe there's speculation there. There's something to look at there because Russell Westbrook's value has decreased in such a dramatic fashion in such a short period of time to where he's had this agent for so long. But Russell Westbrook, the relationship to the client this is one of my priorities. This client is my priority. Why? Because it's Hall of Famer, MVP, triple double king, you name it. I'm gonna make sure Russell Westbrook gets top dollar, and off top dollar, I get top dollar. Well, Russell Westbrook, his value isn't what it used to be. In fact, it's like I said, it's falling dramatically. So, if I'm the agent, do I really prioritize Russell Westbrook anymore? Now he's somewhat of a liability to what it is that my asset class is. If I'm an agent, when you consider how fast it's falling, et cetera, et cetera. So, is Russell Westbrook walking away from his agent, or is his agent walking away from him? Because at this point, it's not like the agent is crying that Russell Westbrook is leaving him when Russell Westbrook is no longer valuable anymore, right? So you just look at it that way. There's reason to speculate around that. I'm not certain how that's going. So now what I think has happened is whatever's going on behind the scenes with the agent, regardless if one of my speculations is right or not, he's leaving, and the guys have to, and when I say the guys, it's Bron, AD, Rob, Genie, everybody involved has to find a way to amicably get our value for Russell Westbrook back to a place where we can get back into these negotiations. So as long as he looks like somebody that doesn't want to be here, he's hurt goods that doesn't want to be here, damn near untradeable. At least when the trade request on his end is not there, we can argue that he's not an insubordinate piece, that he's going to come to your organization and fall in line if for some reason you have one plan or another for him. The options of plans, he won't get in the way of any of those. If he needs to be bought out, he'll be bought out. If he comes in and wants to and needs to sit on the bench, he will be willing to sit on the bench. If he comes in and you need him to start and be the Hall of Famer, he should be ready to take on the role. That's what we're selling when there's no trade request. Once he puts in the idea that he's a trade request, he wants out. Now it turns into something else that we're selling. Now we're selling a piece that doesn't want to be here and a piece that struggled. So if he didn't want to be here, what are we selling to you? Well, chances are if he goes to you, maybe he does the same thing. Maybe he wants out from that situation. Maybe he's not willing to be a starter, a bench player. Maybe he's not willing to be bought out. And so that changes his price tag dramatically just by the notion of certain things that we can't sell anymore. Once we get back on page with one another, because remember, leverage is just what the perception of leverage is. So essentially what the Lakers had to do was get back on the same page or appear to. Talk about being on the phone with one another or actually get on the phone with one another. Either way, it doesn't matter. The point is you need the guys of stability to re-enter the conversation. No. Whatever the agent was on, regardless if it was true or not, time has passed. We've reconvened. And now we're back on the same page. Hey, listen, we had a little bump in the road. At the end of the day, Russell Westbrook, he's our guy. He wants, you know what I mean? He doesn't mind being here. Now, if we have to let go of him, he's not going to cry about it. You know, it's not like we're getting him out of here dragging and screaming. But we're back on the same page now. Now we can get back to the drawing board and figure out if we can get a deal done for him at regular price. No, we're not putting both picks back on the table for you, Brooklyn, just because he's asking out, because he's not asking out anymore. See what I'm saying? So even if they can't sell the idea that there was never any problem, they can sell the idea that they've patched up said problem. That's all it is. It's a big bluff game. Look, I don't have to have a perfect flush in my hand. I just have to bluff you into thinking I do. And that's how it goes with leverage games. It doesn't matter if I have that stuff. It doesn't matter if Russell Westbrook actually wants to be here or not. You just have to be able to not prove that he doesn't want to be here on the other side of the table. See what I'm saying? Because it's all about speculation of what could or could not happen when you're talking about leverage plays. So as long as I can appear stable, I can sell to you the idea that he's going to come there stable, as I said already. So that's what it's all about. So now that we got him back on the same page with our guys, now we go back to the drawing board with Brooklyn and say, okay, look, yeah, that was nothing. We didn't have any issue over here. There was never any issue over here. Whatever you heard in reports of that situation, that's fine. But we're telling you we're back on the same page. We are continuing on our process. If Darvin Ham has a plan for Russell Westbrook, and we're going to implement that plan. What you can do, Brooklyn, is you can look at the piece that we're saying we want to trade for you. We want to take from you in trade. And you can give us that piece in exchange for Russell Westbrook and whatever else the deal is agreed upon. That's what you can do. Or we go back to the table after our conversation and agreement and continue on business as usual. That way, when you're at the negotiation table, you can't sit up here and say Russell Westbrook is this, that, and the third, and because of it, you need to bring the price down, Lakers. Nah, you can't say that no more. Because Russell's right next to me. We cool, right, Russ? Yep, exactly. That's how that goes. That's exactly how that goes. So now Brooklyn has to get back on the drawing board, realize the Lakers have patched up any holes in their leverage situation, and go about their business. Or call the bluff on the bluff and say to the Lakers, nah, you ain't got that all together. You just acting like you do. Russ, we know you don't want to be there. Stop playing around. And then the Lakers say, okay, hang up the phone and go back to business as usual, which is planning to start Russell Westbrook at the start of the season. Because as long as we can put forth the idea and the truth, we can prove that we're not playing about starting the season with Russell Westbrook, we'll be fine. It doesn't matter what's going on with the agent, doesn't matter what's going on with LeBron, doesn't matter what comes out of my mouth, doesn't matter what comes out of anybody's mouth. We don't move till we see the price tag on Russell Westbrook form that we can vibe with. Period. So if the idea is for the agent to blow up, to burn the house down on the way out because of whatever may not be, and his hope is to have to help us out of our 2 picks. You know what I mean? If his whatever he got going on behind the scenes is having it so that he's in cahoots to how to try to get us out from under those picks, if that's what the plan is, it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work. Not gonna work. This is one of those situations where it's like, maybe Russell just didn't understand what he needed to want in this situation. Maybe he wasn't listening to his agent, because it seemed like, if the reports are true, the agent was telling him all of this. Like, look, it doesn't matter that you want out or don't want out. You just got to shut up so the Lakers can get you out. If that was just what it was, then all they just happened on that phone is they probably just explained to him some variation of that. Like, look, it don't matter what the truth is. You just got to pretend, bro, and we're going to get what you want done. But you stepping out in front of us saying you want something done, it's just keeping us from being able to get that thing done. So, this is what we need you to do now. And here we are. I think that's what it is, man. Ain't nobody happier with anybody than they were this morning. Ain't nobody on the same page and nothing like that. No, they just got to go back to the drawing board, figure out how to move the chess pieces to get what we want. It's chess, not checkers. I keep telling you guys, not checkers. So, whatever's going on behind the scenes, I can guarantee it feels like a patch-up job on the Lakers' end to fix their leverage. And nothing more, nothing less. I don't think it's anything more, anything less. And I still expect some move to get made. But I also expect that the Lakers will, in fact, call that bluff on the whole league and bring Russell Westbrook back if for some reason we can't get a deal that makes any sense. I don't expect the Lakers are going to pull the trigger on a deal that don't make sense. And I think some variation of that was told to Russell Westbrook on the phone. And listen, the last thing they needed to understand, the last thing Russell was needed to have explained to him, if he didn't already understand, is once we trade you, you're landing somewhere that's going to buy you out. Once we trade you, you are landing somewhere that is going to buy you out. So whatever you do next is going to determine how well that field looks for you upon that happening. So I think a little bit of that's going on too. Like, listen, Russell, you may not have nowhere to play but LA when this is all said and done. So if you mess around and mess this up, you ain't going to have nowhere to come back to when you find out nobody wants you. That is some variation of what I believe was probably said. Because I think that's a real reality for y'all, for Russell Westbrook, that he comes back to the Lakers after getting bought out because he ain't going to have nowhere else to go. I legitimately see that. He ain't going to have nowhere to audition because of how bad he looked in our uniform. I kid you not. He may still end up on this team just off of the strength of everything else, having nowhere else to go. But the funny thing is, he might have just burnt that bridge down with this little stunt that he just pulled. Or his agent pulled. He might have made it so that the Lakers don't want him back after this. So this is just a nightmare of catastrophic proportions. The only thing that's going to get Russell Westbrook out of this is taking whatever minutes he's given and playing very good basketball with them. That's the only thing going to get him out of this. Everything else is noise. It truly is. It's all noise. If he plays better, people shut their mouths. So he's just going to have to figure out what team he finds himself on and not look as bad as he did last year. Or this is probably going to be his last season in the NBA. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't think he has much of a rope at all, as bad as he looked. And on top of that, I don't think people have been pleased with his behavior and how he's handled it. And they're looking for a certain level of accountability. And I just don't think that's something that they're going to be satisfied with, how they see him give that up. I don't think he's going to give that to them in a way that they can palate. He ain't going to submit the way y'all want him to submit as it pertains to, I sucked, I'm sorry. It's not happening. But I do understand that he gets that, and I do understand that some variation of his play next year is going to reflect how poorly he looked, I believe. I think he's going to play a lot better. I think that's going to be his way of saying I sucked last year. I'll play better next year. But we ain't going to give you the opportunity at $47 million. And that's the point. Like, bro, even if we wanted to bring you back, we can't do it at that price. If you want to win, you need to get the hell out of here and leave us that cap space so we can have some more talent to help the situation. And any other situation, any other way of looking at it is just denial, man. It's just delusional denial. You cannot give us $47 million of what we need. So that's cut and dry. I don't give a damn who feelings get hurt. That's a fact. $47 million of Russell Westbrook ain't winning us a damn thing. Okay? And that's what I would tell him. I ain't got no horse in this race. Ain't nobody shooting me a dime. I'm just a fan. And if people afraid to tell him that, I'll tell him, bro. Ain't got nothing to do with you. It has to do with how much of the cap you're eating. So please, level with us, man. Work with the fans. If you can't work with these people, if you can't work with these people in the room with you, you don't like how they treated you, work with BDF 44. I'm just a guy. And I want my team not to suck, bro. It ain't that deep. You know, it ain't. I would treat anybody that way. It could have been my own brother out there running around, and I'd say the same type of stuff. We have to get him gone. We have to, because it can't help us. I still want him to get his money. Definitely want him to get his money. I just don't want it to hurt my team. So I think that's a unanimous feeling on the side of Laker Nation. And it ain't got nothing to do with whether or not we support the Brody as a human being. No. Hey, listen, you guys can give me $47 million and run around and play basketball if you want. I don't think it's going to help us. You could run my name through the mud about how bad I play, too. It might hurt my feelings. Ain't going to make us any better. You see what I'm saying? Like, if a person ain't good for it, they ain't good for it. I ain't good for it. Don't put me down there. Like, let's be honest. I want to win. So I can separate myself from the situation and say we're probably best if I'm not on the floor. You know what I mean? And I would expect LeBron James to feel the same way if that were the truth. I would expect the same way AD to feel the same way if that were the truth. Sometimes you just got to sacrifice for the team. And if a fan has that mentality without any money, anything coming my way in regards to that, I think the players should be looking at that and saying, yeah, we should probably do that given the fact that these are our lives, we got skin in the game, etc. I really believe that. You should want to not be the reason your team fails. You know what I mean? Unless you're taking Dame money, then you can justify it. But if you're not even going to be out there to run around like that, you ain't going to represent that much of the cap, but then you want people to want you, oh, nah, man, that ain't even real. What world are you living in if you think people are just going to react to stuff like that in this way? I don't know of a world people react like that. If I step on some glass, my foot's going to hurt. I'm not going to jump in for joy and spin around in circles. That's not a natural reaction, bro. When you out there playing horrible, you know what I'm saying? And when we boo in response to you playing horrible, that's a natural reaction. That's foot steps on glass. It hurts. Ouch. Natural reaction. So that's where I'm at, man. Let's stop, being angry at people for reacting to things as naturally as humanly possible. You sucked. I wasn't happy about it. I want you gone. If you was great, I'd be screaming they need to bring you back and be mad at anybody who didn't. You know what I'm saying? Not at $47 million, but you get the point. Natural reactions, Russell. Don't be mad at us for natural reactions, sir. So anyway, that's what I got to say about all of that. I don't know. It's all speculation. At the end of the day, I'm hopeful the Lakers can make a good decision. This is noise, and this is really entertaining noise at that, because we're on a very nice roller coaster that's keeping us entertained throughout the summertime while there's no ball. But, at the end of the day, as I always say, the clock is not our friend if we're a one-take Jake type of win-now team. But we need to win right away with a new team. The margin for error is slim, and the necessary need for preparation is sooner than everybody else. That's your timeline right now. While everybody else is sitting in Tulum and swimming around with family, you need to be coming up with schemes for each and every team. That's what we need to be doing. We need to be studying everybody who's complete. And the teams that aren't complete, we need to have partial schemes for all of them too. Like, these are the type of things I want Darvin Ham to have in place, because it's not about going about business as usual. You got a short amount of time to do an impossible thing, which is bring this team to an NBA champion in one single season. And that's why the time thing is so important. It's like, we need to hurry up and get players on this team and know who we are. This charade, or keeping the timeline of everybody else when they start at training camp, that ain't going to cut it for us. We can't start at training camp because our team is new. You see what I'm saying? You can't just say, okay, we got it. Okay, no. You're going to be behind the 8-ball if you don't give more to it than everybody else. And that's the point. Like, I know what it takes to prepare for a championship team as it pertains to the time that you need to put in and how soon you need to be preparing. If you don't know who you are by mid-July, you're in some trouble. Because the teams that are going to have an advantage are teams that's probably been together for 3, 4, 5 years in a row. You know, and they got to understand the teams that we doing these deals with, they ain't about to win nothing. We're the only one that's going to actually go after it this year. Brooklyn's talking like they're a win-now team, but believe me, they're not winning anything when they make this deal. San Antonio, they're tanking. Indy, they're tanking. All these teams we talking about doing deals with, the Rockets, they tanking. They don't need to hurry up and be done here. We do. Utah, tanking. See what I'm saying? All these other teams that are involved in these trade situations, except for the team that lands Donovan Mitchell and the team that lands Kevin Durant, all these teams are tanking, man. So they don't have to hurry up and start their process. So I believe the Lakers are going in for a win-now situation. I believe the only other avenue to take if you're not winning now is to blow it completely up, since LeBron James is already 38 years of age. Ain't no reason to go forward with, we didn't get it right this year. Let's plan to get it right next year. No, don't plan to do nothing. Get it right now. Next year don't even have to come for us and Bron. Bron can leave next year. We don't have that at all, which is why the time is something that we need to hurry up and really consider. Like, seriously consider. I know August 4th is the day that Bron can sign his extension. I do not expect him to sign that. I don't see any reason for him to sign that, to be honest with you. I don't. Because you guys have not committed to him fully. So why in the hell should he commit to you fully? I'm just being honest with the Lakers. I'm being honest with everybody, man. As long as those two picks are in our possession, we're not fully committing to LeBron James. Now, whether or not we should or should not, that's not the argument. But what I am saying is, if you were not going to and you were doing it correctly, you would have traded him at the deadline. And we talked about that. If you're doing things correctly, that's what should have happened. And since you're not doing that, I think you've already passed the threshold for what you should be doing in regards to winning now. Now it's about winning. That's it. So everything else that people are doing behind the scenes should be a leverage play to ultimately put us in a position to get back in the driver's seat with negotiations in Brooklyn. They're still the team with the guys that want out. We don't have any guys that want out. We had guys who were confused about what it is that they want. Now that they understand what they want the right things. They don't want to go nowhere. That's what we have right now. That's what I believe is taking place. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching.